Hey guys, welcome to Game 5 of my Double Doombulls campaign, and today's game is against Ogres, and it's a 2,500 point game. So here's the deployment. On the top left he has 2 Mournfangs with 2 up armor saves and the 6 up wards, then a unit of 10 Gnoblars, a Sabertusk, a cannon behind them, and then he has a Gut Star with a level 4 Slaughtermaster, and he's got weapon skill 10. So he's got the Fencer's Blades, Glittering Scales, as well as the Greedy Fist. So he's pretty much decked out like my Ninja Bull. And then he's got a BSB in there, as well as what looks like another 12 Iron Guts. Then he has a unit of Man-Eaters with 2 hand weapons apiece. They are immune to Psych, and I believe have Swift Stride. Then behind them he has 2 units of 4 Lead Belchers, and next to them, next to the ruins, is another Sabertusk, then another 10 Gnoblars, and behind the ruins he's got a level 1 Butcher. And his level 4 Slaughtermaster actually is Lore Heavens, and then the Butcher has the Ogre lore. Then he has another 2 Mournfangs next to the ruins, and then a unit of 3 Bulls with hand weapons and shields. So opposed to him, on my far left, out of shot, I have a unit of 5 Dogs, then 2 Chapsticks of Skirmishing Archers, then a large unit of 37 Gore with full command. They don't have any additional upgrades. And in the front rank, I put 2 of my mages, so I have 2 level 2s and a level 1, so I have a level 2 of Shadow, and then a level 2 of Beasts, and a level 1 of Beasts. Now I put my mages in that unit because he's got Chain Lightning as well as Comet, and I don't need my characters getting sniped out. Then I have my Minotaur unit, so that's 5 Minotaurs in there with my 3 characters. So my 1 Overrollable, my Ninja Bull, as well as my BSB. Then I have a unit of 30 Bestigors with Banner Musician. They've got the Standard of Discipline, and in the front rank of that unit is my 3rd Mage, my level 1 of Beasts. So again, they're all just hiding, just in case he gets first turn. Then a unit of 5 Chaff, and next to them I have a unit of 24 Gore with full command, and out of shot on the far right I have another unit of 5 Hounds. So Ogres get first turn, and he moves up aggressively on the left with his 2 Mournfangs, because all I have on that flank is Chaff, so there's really nothing that can oppose them. I can just slow them down. But for the rest, his army stays in place. He's got the cannon and 2 units of Lead Belcher, so he can outshoot me, and he's got Lore Heavens, so he can out-magic range me as well. So he's just staying back. So, in his first shooting phase, he targets my Minotaurs, and he hits them and does 1 wound to one of the regular Minotaurs in the front rank, which was really, really lucky for me. So the cannonball just stops there. Really, really fortunate for me. And I use my Dispel Scroll to stop a Comet coming down on the first turn. I want to get in as close as possible, and hopefully not have to worry about the Comets after turn 2 or 3. So I figured it was a good time to burn the Dispel Scroll. So Beastman, turn 1, I move up very aggressively because I have nothing to lose. I mean, he's just going to outshoot me all day. So I gotta try to get into combat as quickly as possible. So on the left flank, I put a unit of Chaff in front of those Mournfangs. My center moves up as quickly as possible. And I move my mages out of their respective units and move them into a unit of 5 Skirmishers, and they're hanging around the Herdstone there. The Herdstone is right in the 2nd rank of that unit. So my mages are as close to his lines as possible, but also within reach of the Herdstone. And I move my Bestigors up in the center and my Black Cores as well on the right flank, and should his Mournfang charge 1 unit, provided they hold, the 2nd unit should be able to countercharge them in the flank, so that's the way I've got it set up there. In the magic phase, I throw a big Amber Spear at the cannon, and he fails to dispel it, and then I roll a d6 and I do 6 wounds to it, and it's dead. So I thought that was pretty lucky. I mean, it's a 1 in 3 chance of killing it outright, but taking this thing out of the game really, really helps, because, you know, if he had killed one more Minotaur, I believe he would have been able to start sniping my characters, because I didn't have enough guys for Look Out Sir. So super, super lucky on my part. And then I've got extra dice in the magic phase, so I throw up a preemptive Wissen's Wild Form, as well as a Savage Beast of Horus. I wanted my characters to make sure that he, you know, if he does charge me with his Man-Eaters as well as his big Gutstar unit, the Minotaur should be ready to take it. But he does not charge me, so he's still playing defensively, and what he does is shaft me up everywhere. So on the left flank, his two Mournfangs take the bait and run into a chaff stick, the archers. I mean, you know, those guys are gone. In the center, he puts a Saber Tusk in front of my Gore unit, so they won't be able to do anything except charge them. Then he puts a second Saber Tusk, it's hidden by one of my banners, right in front of the Minotaurs, so that the Minotaur unit can't charge anything but them. And of course they're frenzied and would have to overrun, which would give him a nice flank charge if I were to commit to that charge. The Noblars go in front of the Bestigors, and the Mournfangs on the right go into the Black Gore unit. So the Mournfangs are closing in the on the gaps, which I thought was a pretty good strategy on my opponent's part, where the center's being delayed. So if, you know, he does get through my flanks, he might be able to envelop me, but we'll see how it goes. So in the magic phase, he casts Comet, and I can't stop it, so it comes down there, but it doesn't blow up yet. So it's just building tokens right now. But it's pretty bad for me because that means that I have to get all my mages away from my Hearthstone. So that's not good news. In the shooting phase, his lead belchers take off 3 Gores from this unit, and another 2 Bestigors from that unit. Over here, yeah, the Mournfang made quick work of the Chaff Stick, so that's to be expected. And on the other flank, he kills 7 of my Gore, and I do no wounds to him. He actually took a wound on dangerous terrain for jumping over the fence. So my guys are kind of in a bad position. Their leadership's 7 steadfast, but not within BSB range. And as you might expect, they break, so I lose the banner. But he does fail to run me down, so at least it gives me some time to deal, or, you know, it gives me some time to deal with these guys and make sure that they're not going to come in my flank of any of my important units, that is. So, Beastman turn 2. I charge my dogs into his unit of Noblars behind the tower there, so it's chaff on chaff. I move the archers in direct to redirect the Mournfang again. Then my unit of Gore charge the Saber Tusk to get him out of the way, and then what I do is I take my 2 characters, so my 2 Doombulls in that unit, and charge out of the unit, because the Saber Tusk, which is now more visible, is not blocking them. So they're able to charge out of the unit, and his Man-Eaters were immune to Psych, so they are not able to flee. So I'm really, really liking that charge. I'm going to have a crazy amount of attacks, plus impact hits, before he even gets to strike. So I feel like I'm in a good position there. And then on the right, the Bestigors go into the Noblars that are chaffing them up, and I move my Hounds in front of the Mournfang on the extreme right to make sure they can't charge my my Black Gore unit in case they didn't rally. So in the magic phase, the Comet comes down and kills 3 of the Ungor Raiders in this unit, but luckily I'm within BSB range and I passed my leadership test. Then in my magic phase, I cast a Pit of Shades on his very large unit, and I'm able to kill 2 Ogres using that. And we go straight into combat, and as you might expect, the Doombulls absolutely eat through the Man-Eaters. I mean, they're hitting on 3s and killing on 2s. And I think between the two of them, they've got something like 12 attacks, plus all the impact hits that just wiped them out before they could do anything. So they're racking up the frenzy tokens. But that also forces a panic test on both of his lead belcher units, as well as his giant gut star. I mean, he's leadership 9 rerollable, but it's a nice thing to have. And wouldn't you know it, the 2 lead belcher units pass, but then his giant gut star with his BSB and his general flee. And they flee directly away from me. They don't run off the board, but that is very, very nice. That gives these Minotaurs a lot of time to do exactly what they need to do without worrying about that giant Death Star charging them in the flank or something. So I thought that was very, very lucky for me and super unlucky for my opponent. As for the rest of Beastman turn 2, on the top left, my hounds bounce off his Noblars and they just reform. My Gores are able to kill that Sabertusk and they overrun because the Gutstar unit is now fleeing. The 2 Doombulls get an overrun into his small Lead Belcher unit. My Bestigors take care of those Noblars and choose to overrun as well to get closer to those Lead Belchers next turn. So, Ogre Kingdoms turn 3. So he has a couple of charges. His Mournfang charged the second unit of archers on the top left. His Gutstar actually rallies, which was nice for him. But they're they've been delayed and they won't be able to charge for another turn. His Sabertusk in the center looks at my mages near the Herdstone and maybe wants to pick off one of those guys. And then, so he has his 3 bulls, and his 3 bulls come into the flank of my Bestigors. So I was a little bit worried about that. I was on a leadership 8 rerollable steadfast. And I've got 5 attacks to start, but he gets impact hits and 9 attacks, as well as stomp, so he's got way more attacks than me. So it all comes down to whether I can pass my steadfast test there, because once I reform, I should be able to wipe those guys out. With 5 attacks, I shouldn't be able to do that much damage. And his Mournfang coming to the dogs on the bottom right of the screen. And then in the magic phase, he casts a comet, and that ends up killing the rest of the Ungors in that unit, and it puts a wound on each one of my mages in that unit. It kills one of the Minotaurs, and it kills a couple of guys out of the Ungor, out of the Gore unit on the in the center of the screen. So at this point, my mages are rather vulnerable, and that's why that Sabertusk looking at them is potentially dangerous. So we go to the combats. On the bottom right of the screen, yeah, the Mournfang make absolutely short work of the dogs and are staring down the Black Gore. Then in the center of the screen, the bulls absolutely bounce off of my Bestigor. So I've circled it. These killed 1 Bestigor. With my 5 attacks back, I did pass my Primal Fury. I do 4 wounds to him. So I think I end up winning combat with tons of static combat res. He got super unlucky there. I would have expected to kill about 4 or 5 guys between his impact hits, his stomps, and his attacks. But he only got 1 wound through. Super, super unlucky for him. And he bounces off of me, and I choose not to pursue. And I reform to look at those the lead belchers to charge them on my next turn. And we go to the Doombull combat, and this time they're unable to kill the lead belchers to the man. And what ends up happening is he has 1 guy left and he flees. But when we determine the direction of flight, we go center to center. And what that ends up doing is putting me in the flank of those his Gutstar horde. And that means if I charge his lead belcher off the board next turn, and then pass a leadership 8 test to charge the flank of those Iron Guts, I'm in a really good position. But it all comes down to that leadership 8 test. I don't have a reroll, and just Beastmen just have terrible, terrible leadership. I mean, these are my generals. Or one of them is my general, and he's leadership 8. So we go to Beastmen turn 3. The Gores on the top left charge the Noblars that are in the way. My Minotaurs in the center charge the Saber Tusk. My Bestigores charge the Lead Belchers, and my two Doombulls are able to charge the remaining Lead Belcher off the board and pass their Leadership 8 and get into the flank of that Gut Star unit. And I was feeling relatively good about this, but he has a ton of guys there. He just has a ton of guys, and that's going to take a very long time to choose through, and he's strength 6. So I'm not sure how that's going to go, but I think being in the flank is probably the best position that I can be in. And then on the bottom right of the screen, the Black Gore unit charges the Mournfangs, and I'm hoping that a magic phase will maybe help those guys out. And so in the magic phase, I get Wistons off on these guys, so I start with a charge as well as 2 ranks against his 0 kills, and now I'm toughness 5 and strength 4, so I might be able to sneak a wound through, and it's going to be very hard for him to get wounds on me. So I like my position there. This is about as good as it gets for this matchup. So then we go straight to combat because I have no shooting. My Bestigores wipe the floor with those bull units and overrun them, and they run into the flank of his level 2 Butcher. Over here, my Black Gores do 0 wounds against his Mournfangs. I mean, these guys have just been terrible. They haven't really, this entire campaign, they fail charges. They've killed 1 unit of Knights, and I think they've been sitting on that glory and really don't expect to do much else for the rest of the campaign. But this ends up being a push. We stick around. And yeah, so this is actually the last shot of the game because we called it after this one. The Minotaurs kill that Saber Tusk in the center. The other Gores are able to kill the Noblars. And so in the main combat at the top of the screen, I kill 1 Iron Gut on the impact hits, and then he challenges me. He moves both of his characters into the front rank, and he challenges with his weapon skill -1 to hit general, and I accept with my Ninja Bull. And what that means is that my 1-up rerollable bull can only fight his BSB, who's got a 4+ ward save. So my 1-up rerollable Doombull is fighting his BSB, and my Ninja Bull is fighting his Ninja Ogre. And because I have so many more attacks, I think I'm up to 9 attacks with my Ninja Bull and 8 attacks with my 1-up rerollable bull, and I end up doing 4 wounds to his level 4, and I do 3 wounds to his Bruiser BSB. So he's down to, those 2 characters are down to 1 wound apiece, so I'm in a really good position there. But we actually ran out of time and it was getting late, so we just called the game here. So I thought this was a very, very bloody game. My opponent got super unlucky, whether it was his cannons or his leadership tests, or his just not getting any wounds through when he did charge and attack. Again, the Minotaurs are the MVPs, and they're the entire reason why I play this army. My magic phase helped when I needed it. Being able to take care of that cannon turn 1 was very, very useful. And my chaff, again, can't say enough good things about them. Just holding up units that don't want to fight or delaying his flanking units is very invaluable for this list, so that my Minotaurs and my Bestigores can fight the units they need to fight on their own terms. So as for the running tally, so my characters performed pretty well. Jensen Hyde, so the 1-up Doombul, killed the Bruiser BSB, 2 Man-Eaters, as well as 2 Lead Belchers. So Iron Tusk, my Ninja Bull, killed the level 4 Slaughtermaster, 2 Man-Eaters, 2 Lead Belchers, and an Iron Gut. And Tommelrast, the BSB, only killed a Saber Tusk, but you know, that's alright, because I need my BSB in this Leadership 8 army. I need to keep him center, and if he doesn't get into combats, that's fine by me. So running tally through 5 games. Jensen Hyde's killed 3 level 4 mages. He's killed 3 heroes, 92 infantry, 4 monstrous infantry, and 1 monster. So that's a really, really impressive tally through 5 games. Arntusk had a really good performance this game as well, adding 1 Lord, and then to his already 2 hero kills, 53 infantry. He killed 5 monstrous infantry this game, and he killed the Casket of Souls earlier. And some will ask, well, he's kind of falling behind, but again, I need my BSB in the center. It's alright if he doesn't fight. But he killed 1 Sabertusk this round, so it doesn't, yeah,